Welcome to the Career Rockstars podcast.
Hello, listeners. I'm your host, Dr. Alicia Ali. Welcome to this episode of the Career Rockstars podcast, sponsored by Unique You Careers, Belgium. At Unique You Careers, our vision is to create a space where every client can explore their career possibilities. We support professionals to achieve their career aspirations, enabling them to be more, to lead more, and to live more, to become a career rock star, always ready for their next career move. My guest today is Severine Vercruysse, a passionate commercial executive with 20 plus years of international experience. She has launched not one, but 3 blockbusters and 7 other amazing brands in B2C, business to consumer, and B2B, business to business environments. And she believes in working together with high performance teams. After dedicating several years to working in the vaccines domain in a multinational biotech company, Severine has been making some well thought through moves in her life. She has countless skills, but what stands out is developing strategy and launch excellence, and her belief in developing people. And for me, the most special, her enthusiasm and excitement. Let's find out more from her. Join me in welcoming Severine Vercruysse to the Career Rockstars podcast.
Oh, Alicia, I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. So yes, I've known you for 15 years, Alicia. And yes, launching Synfrix as a blockbuster was really a changing gear in my career. At that time, I was still very ambitious and young. I'm still very ambitious, but differently with all the learnings. And yes, I'm ambitious not only for myself, but now really for the people around me. So I also have a family now, 2 little girls, and this of course makes it also even more exciting. So I'm really honored to be here with you and to be part of this top 10 hit parade of Career Rockstar. Thank you so much.
Super. You're already making yourself a career rock star. Tell us, Severine, what part of the world are you at right now?
Oh, I'm in beautiful Canada.
Wow.
Love brought me so far. After Belgium, all European countries that I know by heart, that I love as well. But here is really the best. I've been here for 1 year only, but it's really the best of the 2 worlds. I really love the US opportunity thinking, but also the quality of life and the caring that I feel Europe is also bringing to me. So yeah, really delighted to be here with this beautiful Indian summer. Not today, unfortunately. It's quite gray, like in Belgium.
Exactly. We're going through the same in Belgium, and Canada is a beautiful place. We visited there 2 years ago, but I also studied at the University of Toronto, a different part of the big country, but nonetheless, I understand the beautiful culture over there. Great. So I'm sitting here in Belgium and you're there in Canada, and we're going to make this a Career Rockstar episode not to be forgotten.
Yeah, let's have fun.
So Severine, launching 3 blockbusters internationally is really quite an achievement. And what would you say were some of the key skills that were crucial for you to achieve such a task? Of course, with your team.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really proud of those achievements, but this brings also fears and for the future. So this is So what brings me with my feet well grounded is to really first know your superpowers. So this is really of utmost importance, is really know your talent, know yourself. And it's not an easy one. It seems easy, but this is really a learning process every day. So learning about yourself, learning about your team, learning about the strengths, but also the fears, really important, and the weaknesses, so that we can form the best team, the team that really trusts each other. Like you, me, I'm still in contact with the Synfrix dream team from the past. In fact,
Way
last
back.
Friday, I was still in contact with one colleague. So yeah, it's really about your superpowers, but also the ones around you, to really maximize the achievements.
Indeed. Yeah, because there's so much focus, and we all need a sound education, and we all need continuous learning. But what I'm beginning to realize, and with my clients also, is that the hiring managers, they are more interested in the person. Of course, you need to have the right skills and background, and less about the certificates that everyone seems to be raving after these days. So I'm glad that you've highlighted, the importance of the person, the being, the people, building trust, and those soft skills, as we tend to refer to them. So thanks for sharing that. So I know that you have had a master's in business and management studies, something like that, many years ago. How did you transition that into where you are now in terms of a marketeer, commercial excellence, launch excellence? What was your key transitions in your career to bring you where you are today?
Yeah, so first, I must say, I didn't know what to study. I think at 18 years, it's quite tough to make a decision for the rest of your life. And at that time, maybe things were more fixed, it was making the right choice for the future. And I must say, my parents have been of utmost importance in that choice. So as I was really good in many different things, I decided to go for business, for a business school, the best one in Belgium. I hesitated with engineering, civil engineering, but then fortunately with my parents, I did some preschooling before getting into that university. And I realized that I was more a commercial person, that I could not do mathematics the whole day. So for me, business school was really the best, was really using the financial, mathematics, rational skills, but also bringing them together with real business economics and knowing what the world is about. So so that was one really important. I really remember. I was struggling with that choice. So then after 5 years, I graduated I got my master's, and then of course was like now where to start your professional career, because again, this brings you in a specific situation. So there, I must say, it was quite tough in the year 2000 already to get a job. It was becoming tougher. And fortunately, I did a great thesis. I did a thesis on web marketing with the Amazon business case. And this got me my my first job in an insurance company, a big project with McKinsey, and I thought, okay, let's start somewhere, because it's important to get that first experience. But for me, it was clear that other experiences should come. I was really convinced that this was like a starting point. And indeed, after 3 years, I had the impression I had seen the industry. I wanted to see something else. And then I did another big move. I joined GlaxoSmithKline. So I moved from the banking and insurance industry to global pharma. And I was really, really lucky to meet the right people that were really bold and really interested in my profile, thinking strategically, and bringing more strategic skills to innovate. So that was another important choice that I made in my career. And then 8 years with a global team like you, people like you, Alicia. I stayed 8 years in my global pharma, global vaccine role. And then after 8 years, I thought maybe it's time to have children. I was then 34 years. The clock started to tick, tick, tick. And fortunately, I met the love of my life at GlaxoSmithKline. And
small world.
And I paused because I realized 8 years I had done 2 different jobs. It was probably time to think about something else. So it was good to pause and to step back. And then I jumped to new heights. So I was first into global vaccines, and I moved to local pharma. So I wanted to see, all these global strategies. How are they in fact implemented for brilliant implementation and impact at the patient level? So that was really something that I felt was a gap for me.
I believe I want to make a point here. So thanks for sharing all of that. But I believe at this point is where you started leading teams, correct?
Yes, exactly. You're completely right.
Describe to us how that step, we lead teams like project teams, but really moving into being a team leader where people are now reporting to you and you have accountability over them. Share with us a bit of that transition and how you approached it.
Yeah. So clearly, it was a transition. So, when I was working at global level, I was not leading a direct team, no direct leadership, but matrix leadership. And already at that time, I remember that I had a great mentor, and I felt already, like, how can we make the most without direct leadership of those teams? So it started with that kind of reflection, and then indeed when I changed to local pharma, there I had my own team, 4 key accounts, and I was fortunate I could set up my own team, and so there for me, what was really critical was to be really clear on what were the skills that I needed to succeed for my vision. So that was really critical. I knew I had 4, but what was my vision for that team? So does that answer your question?
It's a discussion we're having. It's not a Q&A. Yes. So no, I think it's important that, for sharing that, because actually, my lesson from the way you answered my question is it's always a great exercise for us to reflect on our growth and our evolution over the years, and really to understand, I would say, become aware of our accomplishments and to be proud of them, and at the same time the challenges we had, and of course how we prepared for them and how we overcame them. So that is really powerful. Thanks for sharing that, because we tend to take things for granted after a while, and only when we go back we realize how much of a leap it was, how much we had to put into it. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I must say I've had a lot of opportunities, and I have great sponsorship. So the hard work suddenly, comes through, but then you need to make it happen, and you don't want to deceive people. I don't know if deceive is the right one. You don't want to
disappoint.
Disappoint, exactly. You don't want to disappoint the people that have put their trust in you. And yeah, I remember when I brought that team together, that first team, it was a challenge because I was really heading a mini business unit. In fact, I had to write a strategy from scratch. And I remember that I was, of course, an excellent marketeer, but I was not such a good people manager, because that was really the first experience. And I remember that somebody gave me a transformational piece of feedback telling me, Severine, this is your comfort zone. We know you can do that. Take more time to listen to your people. And it's true that I remember my people were calling me on the road because it was all quite new. We were going to pharmacies, to wholesalers. This was not the usual business at GSK. And yes, I remember that was really transformational to me, because I thought, okay, it's true. I'm focusing on what I know, where I excel, but my growth journey lies beyond that. So that was really important, that I took more time to listen to my people. And in fact, the great thing is that they helped me to have an even better strategy, because they were really close to customers. They were really in the field. And then there was really the real synergy, there you see suddenly when this click happens in your head that that you're even stronger.
Yeah, I just love the way you say synergy and strategy. I still remember those project team meetings we had, and you love the strategy and the excitement that you bring with that. Indeed, the power of feedback and how we can use it to discover our blind spots and really take that next step to move further up. And some people sit and wait for feedback. But my message here, and I think what you're saying also, is we should seek more feedback. There's no rule against it. And when you seek it, really accept it, and think about, discuss with the person, their point of view, so that you can really use it to help you to step out of your comfort zone, as you say. Super. Yeah, how are we doing so far?
Oh, no, great. I love it. So I hope that the listeners will love it as well. So no, one piece of advice that I learned from one of my managers is, even in each meeting, protect some time for feedback. Did this improve? Did this moment or this meeting help us to go further, faster, according to the objective? Did we achieve our objectives? What went well? What can we further improve? And yeah, every meeting, Even this one,
Wow.
let's protect the time.
We will have some feedback at the end. So it takes a lot of discipline to do that. And indeed, as a coach, I also ask, if I have 6 sessions with a client, after 3 sessions, we do a feedback session to ensure really that I'm supporting them in the best way I can, and they're getting something out of it, and they're moving forward. So good. Thank you for sharing all of that. Wow, your richness is just pumping through. I'm feeling the adrenaline here. So it's so great, Severine. So if we come back to the purpose of this podcast, which we've been addressing, of course, in several ways, it's really to help professionals to take back control of their careers. And it comes with that awareness. And it's really to help them to always be ready for their next career move. With so many redundancies going on, so many people being laid off, so many people deciding to change what they do. It's important that we know where we are and our career profile or identity, as I say. So let's switch a bit, and I'd like to invite you to share some of your secrets and strategies. I mean, going into a deeper level that you might have used to manage your career. You spoke before about the self-branding and so on. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that?
Yes, definitely. Personal branding, very important. But before, again, I want to highlight the power of feedback. This is, really fundamental if you want to grow. And what was the other part? Yes, and then the branding. So this is the next step, is really asking people for feedback, and even short feedback. If in one sentence, why am I unique to you? That is really, how would you describe me very shortly? So, for example, when I was at GSK in my last European commercial role, the branding that came up most often was "make it happen." So I was really happy with that, because it's true that I've always been a kind of marketing strategist. But what I really liked is that I'm not just liking great strategies on slide. Where I'm really unique is that I make those strategies happen for the most impact in real life for patients, for doctors. So that helped me really to understand where I was really unique and different versus others. And of course, now my new training that I started, the digital marketing training, going back to 20 years ago to my thesis. I started this training because I know that this will make me also again unique for my next career move. So pharma is still, I think,
close to your heart.
Yeah, very close to my heart. And I know that a lot of challenges in the last year with this whole COVID situation. And we of course want to make the most of new technologies, but then at the end of the day, we need to find the right balance between digital strategies, but also the other strategies. And at the end of the day, behind all that is our human beings. So yes, personal branding is not only for my products. I've been launching many great brands in the last 20 years, and sometimes you forget about yourself, that in fact you're also a kind of product, a kind of brand. We're all working in progress. We're never a finished product. I think that's also really important to stress. This is maybe the big difference versus another product. I think we can change over time, but it's really important to have know what is today your personal branding and what's your best self branding linked to your personal mission. How can you really change the world? What makes you good for the future?
Indeed, because today, part of career coaching, we have all the fundamentals about the person. Then you have the portfolio aspects about your resume and preparing for interviews and so on. But a big part of it is your personal brand. And with social media, especially, how do you appear on those brands? What is your message? What are you saying about yourself? What do you want people to know about you, rather than just your resume? And I think more and more people, especially on LinkedIn, for example, are starting to see the power of that, because then the recruiters will be able to identify you faster, depending on the profiles they're looking for. So I like your own branding, make it happen. Thanks for re-emphasizing the feedback.
And in fact,
culture.
I should add, my vision is make it happen, but together with the best talents. Because as you said, I'm an extrovert and I wanted to be the queen of my own business, but I realized that I would not be able to run my own business alone. So that's probably why I'm, it's really, I want to make great things, but together with the best people.
Great.
For the project.
Yeah, indeed, it's important to realize that, and what is your dream, but also what is the reality behind that. And if one of your qualities is to be able to work with teams and have that extrovertness exercised on an everyday basis, then it does get lonely, especially if you're a solopreneur. And yeah, that's why I do a podcast. So great.
You asked about strategies. I think the number one strategy that I would recommend to better know yourself, better understand yourself, is really to journal. I think that's really, really important. That helped me a lot to do kind of daily journaling on where I'm happy with what I did, with the impact I had, but also where I'm not happy about myself. And then the other one, to really know your superpowers, is feedback, of course, as we discussed earlier, but also the strength finder. So this is the Gallup.
Clifton strength.
Exactly. And this is not that expensive. And I really recommend everyone to do that, because this will help to set your best self personal branding. And of course, then discuss with people around you, people that trust you, people that want you to grow.
Indeed. Coaching can be powerful, but some of these assessments, indeed, they cannot just be used offhand. You need to discuss it with your coach. So I encourage everyone to go ahead and take those assessments, but have someone to discuss it with, because then you sit and you don't really get to analyze the depth of it. I'm not sure if you had that experience, but this is what I'm seeing with some of my clients.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's good to have at every level, in every job, really. I only realized quite late in my career that I could ask help. And I think now it's much more in to have mentors, to have coaches. But yes, it makes a big difference to have somebody help us to put the mirror in front of us.
Indeed. Yeah, and I like that you, even with all your experience and all your successes in big launches globally in a multinational biotech, you are still going back on digital marketing, as to up your skill level, because of course it's all going so quickly and we can easily be left behind. So I commend you for taking that big step and really setting the example for others to see that, it's I wouldn't say never ending, but it's important that we consider also our learning curve and where we need to be next.
Yeah.
Great. So I checked out your LinkedIn profile, so I went in there.
It's definitely not perfect.
No, there's no perfect. I was quite intrigued by a particular role that you highlighted, and you touched on it earlier. I see family expat project lead. It's for me a really cool title. But what most people don't realize is that moving countries, even if you got support from the employers, is not an easy task. So yeah, I can imagine now you are all settled in, but it is a big move that many spouses take on. Yeah, any words on that?
Yeah, I'm so happy you highlighted, because in fact, this is something that I've been discussing a lot with my husband, is that you have two ambitious people together, but at a certain moment you need to make difficult choices in life. And sometimes I miss, some role models and some real stories about the difficulties. It seems always that it's easy, for couples to succeed, both being ambitious. And yes, after a 20-year global career, it was not an easy choice, but I thought it's time for me to start a new chapter. So I stepped back in January 2020. I wanted to start my own company. I had been thinking a lot, but of course, when you work 60 hours a week, you don't have a lot of time and space and energy to plan for the next chapter. So yes, at a certain moment, there was a reorganization at GSK, and I took that opportunity, and I realized how lucky I have been. The luxury to step back with some kind of financial cushion after 17 years at GlaxoSmithKline. And I forgot now. I'm thinking.
That's okay.
So what? So yes. So no, now I lost.
That's fine. That's fine. It was really more. We were talking about moving with the spouses and in that expat, and really it gives us time to reflect. And this is not only about women, because you also have men who move with the family, and the sacrifices that are made is not gender dependent these days, at least. And it's a big move, moving from Europe to Canada. And yeah, you use the time. I think my message from you is that you use the time to reflect. You use the time to up-level your skills, and you're really considering your own mindset and awareness about where you are and where the next step will be. So it's a great experience. It's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, traveling abroad is really discovering yourself for me. And I must say, all my weaknesses, have been challenged enormously. So first, the fear of not succeeding. So then you realize, what is success? You start with really challenging your own beliefs, and also, for example, listening. I realize I'm listening so much more now to the environment, what is happening. Also, I was quite impatient. I'm still. but I realize the power of self-awareness and self-reflection. This has helped me really to have a crisper understanding of who I am, what I want, what I don't want. So I'm really, it's not simple. It seems simple to have a lot of time to think, but I can tell you, I don't like routines. But then when I didn't have any any employer anymore, I realized you need to have some routines, you need to have some structure, self-discipline, because otherwise, my 24 hours were still gone. I was like, what did I do today? So that's why also I started this training, because I really believe that indeed you need to have a strong training, and especially in that field, digital marketing. I want to be best in class when I get back to the job hunting. And I'm preparing for the long-term game, coming back to Belgium with additional skills. And not only digital marketing skills, but of course, all the other human soft skills which are needed.
Yeah, I think your profile would be super. For those listeners out there, well, you have a candidate here for digital marketing, Severine. She will highlight a bit later on how you can get in touch with her. But just coming back now, Severine, thanks for going into detail and really sharing with us where you are today and highlighting all the little bits that seem random, but I can see how it helped you, as you say, to increase in your self-awareness, your mindset, knowing what you want, and importantly, knowing what you don't want. So I do have a question that I ask all my guests, and this one is about the younger people just coming up, maybe just graduated, or maybe the young professionals. So what advice would you give to, the younger, shall we say, professionals moving into the commercial field?
So look,
sales and marketing, as we call it, yeah.
So the young tigers, I think we have lots first to learn from them, because we are in a different generation, and I think they have really a lot of great skills, especially what I really like about them, and I've been struggling with that in my life. And when I think about the younger generation, it's work hard but play hard, and the best advice I can give is know your strengths, but also what gives you joy in your life. I think that's really important. Never forget about that. So, for example, also now I started this digital marketing leadership program. And I have to write assignments to get my certification. I had the choice between 3 great companies, and finally it's the choice of the heart. And I'm so happy that I took that choice. So don't hesitate to follow your passion or your heart. We're sometimes thinking too much, and really find the right balance between thinking but also your heart, because maybe I didn't listen enough to my heart in the previous years.
Indeed, we all have to go through these phases, and that's why one of the reasons for this podcast is also to help those with our learnings, to help them to accelerate faster. Of course, everyone has their own journey, but some things can be transferred to the younger professionals.
I think be yourself. Don't play the game of the other person. Sometimes we want to please people, but and that's probably my last experience, my last professional experience. I was probably trying to be immersed in a culture, and probably I was not sufficiently definitely myself. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with the choice I made. So
Super.
never regret.
Super. So thank you so much, Severine, for sharing your journey. I mean, we only have like half an hour, but with us and how you the steps you took and the consciousness over time, and really how you're proactively managing your career today. I believe you told me listeners can get in touch with you via LinkedIn. So I'll
Yes.
put the link. I'll put the link in the description of the podcast. And as we come closer to the end, I do have the theme question for you. What makes you a career rock star, Severine Vercruysse?
It's always difficult to speak for yourself, but I think I feel a career rock star because I followed my heart after 20 years. It's not that I didn't follow, but everything happens in a kind of flow. And then suddenly you realize the opportunities are more difficult, the more you go up. But it's great to take some time to reflect and really take the time to step back, to look backwards, to look forwards, but also to look inside. I think that's sometimes what we forget. So it's important to have this golden triangle in mind. It's what have you done before? Where do you want to go? But so super important is this golden triangle. Looking backwards, what have you done up to now? What have been your greatest successes? Also your greatest fears? Looking forward, where do you want to go? What's your personal mission? But also look inside. What's your best self? And what are your superpowers? So that's really my why I feel I'm a career rock star, is that I've been able to bring those three things together, and yes, I'm pretty confident in the future.
Okay, I love that. I'm going to use that, the golden triangle. We all do it as career coaches. We help our clients to look back to the future and really where they are now and accepting their starting point, their current starting point. So that's a very powerful metaphor, I would say. Thank you. Thank you for being a career rock star and sharing everything here today. So thank you, Severine. I'm really inspired and impressed, of course, by your career evolution, the choices you've made, and really your high level of awareness. And, there are people even with more experience than you where that awareness is very slow to come in. It does come in with age, but there is some effort that we have to put into it. Mm-hmm. Also, thanks for really sharing your story. So many spouses, as you know, lead the family move today, and they're not necessarily acknowledged for it. And usually they find it hard to justify the gaps in their CV, but you've shown us that it's a project in itself, and you can put it on your CV. And so many families need support in this domain that it's not a sacrifice, but it's a choice, I would say. And with your experience and expertise, I would say the world is yours. I can't wait to hear about your next career move, especially since you've taken this proactive approach, which you are sharing with our listeners today. So thank you for being my guest.
Let's get back together in 1 year or in 2 years.
Indeed, we shall.
I want to be again in the hit parade. Thank you,
Indeed.
Anisha.
Thank you again, Severine, for being my guest and for sharing your career journey with us.
Thank you. This was my first podcast, so hope you will like it. And yeah, give us feedback. It's really important.
Indeed. So on the podcast channels, there is a possibility to share feedback. So we look forward to all our listeners sharing feedback and making that a habit in their lives. So in closing, my dear listeners, thank you again, Severine. I really want every one of us to remember that you are unique, your career is unique, and your lifestyle is unique, and that it's never too late or early to take control of your career to become your own career rock star. This is your host, Dr. Alicia Ali, Europe's premier career coach and mentor. I thank you for listening, and remember to follow me on your favorite podcast channel. Join us next time on the Career Rockstars podcast.
We'll enable you to be more, lead more, and to live more, to become a career rock star.